Did you know that two brothers from a small town in Missouri turned a simple dream into one of the largest entertainment companies in the world? Imagine starting with nothing but hard work, determination, and a belief in each other. That's the story of Walt and Roy Disney, who founded Disney from scratch and built it into a legacy that continues to shape our world today. Let's dive into their incredible journey, from their humble beginnings to creating a magical empire. The early days of Walt and Roy Disney. Walt Disney was born in 1901 in Chicago, and his family moved to Missouri when he was just a young child. Even as a kid, Walt had a love for art and drawing. He would spend hours sketching and drawing, especially fascinated by trains, which he would often see while walking through his town. But life wasn't easy for him. His father, Elias Disney, was very strict and did not think much of Walt's love for drawing. He wanted Walt to focus on more practical work, but Walt's brother Roy was always there for him. Roy supported his younger brother's dreams from the very beginning. As the older brother, Roy understood the struggles that Walt faced, and he helped guide him through their tough times. Roy was born 8 years before Walt in 1893, and he always looked out for Walt. When they were kids, they did everything together, whether it was working on their family farm or just walking around town. Roy often took care of Walt, even making sure he had little toys or knickknacks to make him happy. He knew from a young age that his role was to protect and encourage his brother, and this bond would last for their entire lives. The support Roy gave Walt was crucial in shaping the man Walt would become, as Roy constantly encouraged him to pursue his dreams, no matter how outlandish they seemed. Moving to California, a new beginning. As Walt grew older, his passion for drawing and art became stronger. He moved to Kansas City and worked as a commercial illustrator. Even though Walt was starting to find his way, his early business ventures were not successful. In 1917, Roy enlisted in the Navy to serve during World War I, and Walt followed him by joining the Red Cross, where he drove ambulances in France. However, when Roy returned from the war, he was ill with tuberculosis and moved to Los Angeles to recover. While Roy was recovering in California, Walt continued to chase his dream, unsure of where it would lead him. Walt, full of ideas and dreams, stayed behind and worked in Kansas City, trying to make a name for himself in animation. He and his friend Ub Iwerks even started their own company, but it didn't last long. Walt kept struggling, but Roy was always there to support him. Roy wrote to Walt, urging him to come to California, where there were more opportunities for artists. In 1923, Walt took a train to California with just a suitcase and a reel of his work. It was a bold move, but Walt knew he needed to take that step. With Roy's support, Walt knew he had a chance to make it big in Hollywood, starting the Disney Brothers studio. When Walt arrived in California, he had big dreams but little money. He worked hard to get his first project off the ground, an animated series called Alice in Wonderland. While Walt focused on the creative side, Roy used his business skills to find investors. Roy believed in his brother's creative genius and knew that they could make something big happen. The first success came when a distributor in New York agreed to finance the Alice comedies, which was a big break for the brothers. With this success, they were able to form the Disney Brothers Studio, which would soon change the entertainment world forever. The success of Alice in Wonderland helped them set up their own studio, which they called the Disney Brothers Studio. Roy was the business manager, while Walt was the creative force. Together, they made a great team. Walt would dream big, and Roy would make sure it was financially possible. Despite the challenges, the brothers continued to work hard and expand their studio. They produced several successful projects, but it wasn't always smooth sailing. There were times when they faced financial difficulties and disagreements, but Roy always stood by Walt. Their partnership was grounded in a deep respect and understanding of each other's strengths, facing challenges together. One of the biggest challenges they faced was the loss of Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, one of their early cartoon characters. In 1928, Walt lost the rights to Oswald due to a contract dispute, which was a huge blow to him. However, instead of giving up, Walt created a new character that would change everything: Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse made its debut in the short film Steamboat Willie, which was the first synchronized sound cartoon. It was a massive success, and it marked the beginning of Walt Disney's rise to fame. This moment proved that Walt's creativity could never be stifled, and Roy's steady guidance kept the studio moving forward. Despite their success, the brothers faced many struggles along the way. Walt was often the dreamer, coming up with new, innovative ideas like cartoons with synchronized sound and Technicolor, while Roy was the practical one, ensuring that the business side of things was handled. The brothers' relationship was not without tension, but they always had each other's backs. Roy would step in whenever things got too difficult, especially when Walt's creative ideas caused financial problems. Together, they made a perfect balance. Walt was the visionary, and Roy was the one who made sure everything was possible. Building Disneyland and overcoming doubts. In the late 1940s, Walt came up with an idea that was even bigger than anything he had done before. Disneyland, a theme park that would bring his magical ideas to life. However, Roy was skeptical. He thought the project was too risky, especially since they were a film company, not an amusement park company. But Walt was determined, and he put everything on the line to make his dream a reality. He used his life savings and sold his vacation home to fund the project. It was a risky move, but Walt's passion for his ideas pushed him to take that leap. But even with all that, Walt still didn't have enough money. So once again, Walt turned to Roy, who came up with the brilliant idea of partnering with a television network to fund the project. Roy worked hard to strike a deal with ABC, and this partnership helped fund Disneyland while also promoting it on TV. Disneyland opened in 1955 and was an instant success, drawing millions of visitors. It was a huge milestone for the Disney brothers, but the journey was far from over. Walt and Roy had made Disneyland happen, but they knew there was much more to achieve. The dream continues, Walt Disney World. After the success of Disneyland, Walt set his sights on something even bigger, Disney World in Florida. He began purchasing land for the park, but sadly, Walt did not live to see it completed. In 1966, Walt was diagnosed with lung cancer and passed away later that year. It was a devastating loss for the Disney family, and especially for Roy, who had always been there for his brother. But Roy wasn't about to let Walt's dream die. He took on the responsibility of completing Disney World in honor of his brother. Roy knew how much Walt had believed in the project, and he was determined to make it a reality. Roy worked tirelessly, raising money and overseeing the construction of the park. When it opened in 1971, it was called Walt Disney World, a tribute to the man who had started it all. Roy continued to work on the project until his health started to decline. In 1971, just a few months after the opening of Walt Disney World, Roy passed away at the age of 78. He had fulfilled his mission, to make Walt's dreams come true. And his legacy, along with Walt's, lives on today through the Disney parks, films, and countless memories they have created for people around the world. A legacy built on brotherly love. Walt and Roy Disney's story is one of love, dedication, and hard work. They came from humble beginnings but built an empire that continues to bring joy to millions. Walt's creativity and vision, combined with Roy's business sense and loyalty, made them an unstoppable team. The Disney brothers proved that with hard work, determination, and a little help from family, anything is possible. Their legacy continues to inspire new generations of dreamers and doers, showing us that anything is possible when you believe in each other. The Disney brothers showed us how powerful love and trust can be in building something bigger than yourself. If you enjoyed this inspiring story, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.